Another episode of the Black Culture Podcast. I am your co-host, Price. That is
the Willie Ashford.
Willie Ashford coming at you. Second episode of the year. Willie, how you feeling today, bro?
I mean, I'm good, man. A little tired. Been grinding, but we good, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lots to talk about. Lots been going on in the world. But today I wanted us to focus in on something that if you haven't done it already in your life, I think it's very important to. I know there's been a lot going on in the world as far as, really can't just pinpoint one area, but obviously health, finance, lots going on in the sports world, lots going on in the realm of business in the world. But today I want to talk about goal setting. And I purposely didn't tell Willie what we was talking about because this is right up his alley. This ain't even anything that he has to actually prepare for. It's automatic for him. And it's funny because I watched Willie grow over the past year into just an absolute beast when it comes to being a creative. He's grown in personal life as well, but just to witness how his life has grown. He was already a beast. He just became more beastly. But today we're going to delve into this a little bit, and I'm going to say my little piece and I'm going to pass it over so Willie can give y'all the tea. Goal setting. So a lot of people make New Year's resolutions. There's a difference between resolutions and goals. I personally, when I make a goal, it doesn't have to be a specific time of the year, but for most people, they wait till like the end of the year or the beginning of the next year to start making their goals and plans. I think that's something that you should always be doing. Once you hit a goal, once you crush one, set another one. It takes time to celebrate and be thankful and all of that, but set another one, because as human beings, it's important that we continue to get fulfillment and never stay stagnant. So today, Willie, I want to talk about identifying your short-term and long-term goals and not setting unrealistic goals, which is something I think you've talked about before. I want to talk about having a backup plan. A lot of times when one thing don't work out, we just quit, versus having a plan. If this plan don't work out, you got to have a plan for the plan and even a plan for your backup plan, because sometimes things just don't work out the way we want them to, but there's always a road to get to where you want to go. I want to talk about something that you and I have done, the importance of partnerships, because sometimes goals aren't meant to be reached alone. You need other people to help you reach those goals, just like other people might need you to help them reach their goals. I want to talk about mentorship, and I want to talk about gratefulness, because, man, you don't really realize how much you have until you see somebody that has a lot less than you, right? Like, we have a lot more than we think we have, especially in this country, the access to resources, et cetera, et cetera. And someone from another country, they come here and they kill it because they're used to not having anything. So I want to talk about those 5 things, man. And I'm gonna kick it over to you, bro. Let's talk about identifying short-term and long-term goals. Or if you want to start somewhere else, you can start somewhere else. I just chose that to start. Where you want to start when to talk about goals?
We can start that one, but it is one I would like to add on to.
Go ahead.
You mentioned like some goals are meant to be done with others. And also, I think it's important that we touch on this later on, because I would like to start at setting goals. But I think we have to realize too, sometimes some goals are meant to be done together, but sometimes it's a goal that you got to do on your own. Meaning you may just be with in a certain area for a reason, right? You may not understand why you're there. You may not understand why you're doing that right at that moment. You may not understand it till years later, but it is it's just something to think about. But you said, where do you want to start at? Because I feel like that's a great starting point too. I think you said setting goals.
Yeah. So short-term versus long-term goals. Sometimes we overestimate what we can do in a certain amount of time. So we may say, yeah, by the end of this year, I want to have $100 million. I want to buy 10 properties. I want to do that. But is there really enough time? Not saying it can't be done, which if you do it, that's even better. But creating goals that you know that you can crush immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, the long-term goal to me is I would categorize that as the main goal, the ultimate goal. To me, that's what that I would say that is the long-term goal is like the ultimate goal. Like when you if you have a vision board or not, like when you looking to reach something, the top of your vision board is this is the all-time goal right here. So, and that being said, setting reachable goals to me are the short-term goals, meaning these goals I'm setting right here, these tasks I'm putting in front of me is going to help me get to that ultimate goal. Because the ultimate goal, let's be honest, more than likely the ultimate goal is going to take years. It's going to take some hard, heavy lifting. It's going to take some really networking, getting to know people. It's going to be some ups, some downs. It's going to be some projects that you start that fail. And we all know, Price, that journey to the ultimate goal is a long journey. So if you don't really set realistic goals or reachable goals to get there, like milestones, like let's just take social media. You know how long it takes people to get to 1 million followers on social media?
Oh
Like
man.
what we see is just the finishing product, right? We don't see the stuff behind the scenes. We don't see the long hours, the meetings and stuff like that. So your goal may be, all right, let me get 100 followers. That's a milestone. Next milestone, let me get 500. Next milestone is 1,000. Like you have to set goals that will help you get to the ultimate goal. Because the ultimate goal, I don't know what your ultimate goal is. It's not really for anybody to know, but you know, or maybe the people you share in your circle. But you have to set milestones in order to get to those goals, because getting to the ultimate goal, the thing you really want, the thing that you're passionate about, if you don't set milestones to get there, you're gonna feel like you're not getting anywhere because you're so focused on getting to that main thing. You're not focusing on the journey and the steps and the progress you're making along the way.
So let me ask you this question. What is one of your biggest like long-term goals and short-term goals that you have set in order to get there?
one of my biggest one of my goals right now that I have is, and I didn't know, I knew it was a goal, but I didn't really realize it was my ultimate goal until I really like just started putting my head down doing it. I want to be, when it's all said and done, in the next year or two, because this is going to take me further. But right now, and because your all-time goal can change, but this one for me right now is I want to be considered one of the top as far as clean comedy, like comedy that everybody can watch. My kids can watch the stuff I do. I want to be considered one of the top. I mean, like top two, if not the best. If I'm the best, I'll take that. But to be considered like when you mention like the Annie Douglas of the world, the Kev on stage, guys like that, I want to be considered like one of the top clean Christian comedy artists in media. Like I want to be a
That's
household
dope.
name. I want kids to know who I am. Like that's what, and for me, just being there will put me in places that I didn't even think of. Like I didn't even have on my list. So that's my ultimate goal. And the goals I'm setting to get there right now is I'm learning social media. I've got I've learned TikTok. I feel like I've kind of not mastering it, but I'm learning how it works. So now my next goal is let's work on IG, because you know building the social media is not easy. Like I thought it was like a piece of cake. It's not. Building the social media and building that brand, your brand, is not easy. So now I'm focusing on that. And eventually I got to focus on Twitter. But just to be considered, like when you talk about comedy, you talk about clean comedy, you talk about sketch comedy and creators, I want to be considered one of the top. When you mention that category, I want the Willie Ashford's name to be in that conversation.
Wow, that's an incredible goal. Um, Media goals, I don't have it all worked out yet, right? I
And that's
definitely
okay.
want.
Like I'm glad you said that, because that's okay. A lot of people feel like they supposed to have it. Like, nah, nah.
Yeah, man, and I can honestly say that I learned a lot from you in that space. You know, when I was younger, I used to want to be one of the top actors, like ever,
Not too
but
late.
No, it's not too late, but I don't think acting is the move I want to make. Like I'm looking at producing, but as far as media, I love this space that we're in, being able to talk about issues and stuff. But I'll give you one of my personal goals. You know, my brother, or our brother, Taye, has been to close to 80 countries.
Mm.
See, Nicole has been to over 100. So traveling is something like on a consistent pace, not just I'm gonna take a vacation here and there. Like I actually have a goal. I want to hit 100 countries.
That's dope.
Easy, right? So now when I was growing up, that wasn't a thing. Like I never heard of that. She's the first person I've ever met that's done that, which really puts her in rare air. But just say over the next 10 to 20 years, that's something that's very possible. So I've
Very
written down,
possible, bro.
yeah, man, I've learned once you hit a continent, you can move around pretty easily to these other countries. The steps that I've taken there is I identified which countries are close to each other. I've identified the amount of time and the cost to go, you know, because you don't always have to fly to every country. Some countries you can take a train or drive over to. And when you get to those countries, even if you do have to fly, it's usually very inexpensive to fly. So I've broken it up into the countries, into the time, into the costs. Um, and there's nowadays so many um, small businesses doing tours and all that kind of stuff all over the world. And so that's a goal I have. Like, you know, do I want money and all of that? That's great, but what am I going to do with it outside of giving back and creating a legacy? I want to experience things that you just got to be there for. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro, that's dope. I wanted to get into setting unrealistic goals. You know what I mean? Like how some people they'll, you know, it's an old saying, don't bite off more than you can chew. So sometimes we set goals within a certain time frame that's really unrealistic because you're not set up for it. Things don't just happen because you want them to happen. They happen because you make them happen or you're set up to be able to make them happen. So I wanted to get your take on that. Like, what's your thoughts on people setting unrealistic versus making realistic goals?
So, um, I like to always put out there, no goal is unrealistic, but it can be a time where that goal is unrealistic, right? All goals, any goal you say, you put your mind to it, there's a path to get there. There's always a path. There are things you can do to eventually get there. But where it comes unrealistic is when you may say, man, I want a Lamborghini and I want a house on the hills by the end of the year. Well, you're not financially set up to where you can get that. So make that, we talked about ultimate goals, make that the ultimate goal. Now what you need to do now is set realistic goals to get to the ultimate goal. Say, okay, you know what, man, I want a Lambo and a house on the hills. Let me make sure in 3 or 4 months I got my credit at X, Y, and Z. Let me make sure in 3 or 4 months I got this amount of money paid off in the bank. I got this debt saved. I got this debt paid off. So now you're setting goals to get to the ultimate goal. Because let's be honest, if your credit ain't right, if your money not right, if your finances are not together, if you're not financially stable, that house on the hills and that Lambo probably not going to happen. That's when it comes unrealistic. You got to set, and we talked about it earlier. Me and Price, we talked about setting reachable goals, which are the realistic goals to get to the ultimate goals. Because if you just got your mind focused on that Lambo, every time them bills come in, that debt you need to pay off, you're going to feel like, man, I ain't never going to get to it. When really, your goal should have been to pay these bills off first in order to get to that ultimate goal.
So what do you say to those people? And you know I gotta ask you this. What do you say to those people that's saying, I'm just trusting God? I'm just trusting God to make it happen for me.
I'm be completely honest with you. God is not going to have somebody pull up at your house tomorrow with a Lamborghini to drop off some keys to a house on the hills. But what God is going to do, and this is where we may miss the sign. He may send somebody near to you that may be a financial advisor that can help you get your credit together. Now it's up to you. You might ignore that. He may send somebody to you
that is good with managing money to help you, but you got to be ready to, and your mind got to be ready to have a relationship with them to see those signs. Because God, must be honest, man, God not gonna give you nothing. He not gonna give you a house knowing that your credit and your money ain't together. Because all you're gonna do is lose it. You imagine how stressed you're gonna be, and everything's a process. It's a journey. So I would say, listen, God will trust in God, but trust that God is gonna send the people to help you get there. He's not gonna send the people that's just gonna give it to you.
Man, and to that point, even when setting goals, because in our culture, we've made money and having material things such a priority, opposed to what is the long-term effect of having these things. Look, I'm not against having material things or having money at all, but if that is your primary goal, so as if to say, okay, I've made the money, I have the house, I have the cars, and all the other things that I want, and that's it, I'm done. I want to just take a sidebar real quick and talk about the goals of who you are to become in order to be able to get those things, because people in certain positions are not the same person that they were before they got into those positions. So I want to know your thoughts on becoming not just ready for those goals, but becoming someone who can not only attain, but who can sustain, but also being the fact of who you become once you get those things. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, isn't that the beautiful thing about life? The more we grow, the more years go on, we experience things and we change. You know, I'm sure you're not the same person that you were a few months ago or last year, because we evolve, right? So that's the beautiful thing about life, right? And this is why I love we talk about awareness a lot on here, because if you just pay attention to, some people may call it the universe or whatever, the signs, or just pay attention to life and start noticing things, we become more equipped to obtain or and sustain. You may learn something. Like, that's why the journey to getting to your ultimate goal is so important, because there's so many life lessons that you're going to learn along the way. Nobody is meant to just wake up one morning and be a millionaire. Nobody like that. That's not happening, because there's a process and there's things you need to learn, the do's and don'ts along the way when you get that, right? Because could you imagine if you don't know anything about money, you don't know anything about finance, about savings, about stocks and stuff, but you just become a millionaire and you just spending money, you just
Yo,
buying this, you buying that. So that's the thing. Like, when we always talk about, you cannot skip processes. Life won't really allow you to. You can try all you want, but it's gonna come a moment to where you're gonna need to know something, but you skip the class in life and you have no
yo,
idea. Now you got to pay somebody to show you that.
to show you that. And it's funny to that point. So I don't play, but I love watching when the Powerball gets like to, 300 million, 400, 500 million. And somebody just hit it the other day. I think it came out either on Tuesday or Wednesday. So it was up over $500 million, and somebody hit it, right? And you always hear those stories, and this is to your point. You always hear those stories about people who hit the lottery and they go broke after winning millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And the average person would sit back and say something like this. They say, see, man, that's why they shouldn't have got that money. Or if that was me, I would have did blah, blah, blah. And
I
we
can't stand
obviously
people
don't
like
know
that.
if
I
if
can't
that's
stand those
true,
if that was me per people.
but usually the average person would do the exact same thing. That's why they're the average person, somebody who knows how to make their own money. So I've never been, I would say when I was a kid, that would excite me, but as an adult, I've always felt like I can make that money on my own. But I'm of a different mindset where it's like, why do I want to make the money? What am I going to do with the money? Like, I want to earn it, because not only do I have the money, I also have the knowledge and the wisdom to earn the money. But that was an excellent point. The thing you said, that God isn't going to send you the money. He's going to send you what you need in order to attain it on your own. He's giving you something so much more. And I never forget, you're a football guy. I never forget, I can't remember the player who it was. He had won the Super Bowl, and he always thought once he won the Super Bowl, he felt like it would fulfill him. And when he won it, it did not. And that's the point I was making. Is like, we set these goals, but those goals aren't fulfilling us. They're like temporary desires. It's like, man, I want some pizza tonight. So you order some pizza and it's good. Tomorrow morning, you wake up hungry. We always need that. But as it relates to goal setting, next thing I want to get into is, as you set these goals and plan A doesn't work, maybe even plan B doesn't work, what are your backup plans on how you need to readjust? Like, you can set a goal and then you can write out a plan, and that plan might have been real quick. Okay, that don't work. What do you say to someone where it doesn't seem like these plans are working for them and they need to readjust and maybe refocus some things, maybe change some things in order to reach the goals that they have?
Well, first, I'm glad you said change the plan, but it was something you said earlier I wanted to piggyback on, because, man, I think it really, maybe it's not the goal that's fulfilling, right? The goal is fulfilling, but I think it's the journey that actually completes the goal, because of the life lessons you learn along the way. But to me, I seen a post, and I love this quote. It says, the goal will always remain the same. You just may have to switch plans along the way. So your first plan may not work, right? Don't switch the goal. The ultimate goal, again, like we been saying, the ultimate goal is going to be the ultimate goal. You just need to switch your game plan. It's like sports, right? The ultimate goal is to always win Super Bowls. You may feel like, all right, we're a passing team. A few weeks may go by. All right, we're not really a passing team. Let's turn it back and turn into a running team. Or let's turn it back and let's focus more on special teams. Or you know what? Let's turn it back. Let's make sure, let's let defense be our identity.
That's an excellent analogy, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying? The goal is the goal is the goal. You don't ever change the goal. You change the plan. And we know in life, sometimes you gotta switch your plan. Things happen. The unexpected will always happen. That's why it's called the unexpected. So the goal will remain the same, but plans, you just have to sit back, regroup. You may have to rearrange some people in your life. You may have to eliminate people. You may have to add people, but the goal is the same. But the plan is what you switch.
I just want to add to that real quick. Sometimes, depending on circumstances that come up, you do change goals.
Oh yeah,
because certain things become priority. And so, for example, like for me as a single guy with no kids, I'm not going to say I can do anything I want, but I probably have a little bit more leverage than somebody who might not be in that same position. And that could be a temporary thing, because sometimes people put their goals on hold in order to take care of what's priority right now and then come back to those goals later. So I get that. Sometimes desires change. So for example, there's things that I never got that I desired when I was in my 20s. Now in my 30s, I don't desire those same things.
That's
so my
stuff,
goals
That's
are different.
a great point.
Bro. So let's hop into, and this is something that we touched on. We talked about it on yesterday, but I really wanted you to delve into it. And that was reaching goals individually versus reaching goals with others. Sometimes you may need a partnership. Sometimes you may need 2 or 3 people to partner with. We see that a lot in the business world. But even for personal goals, sometimes what you want, you might not be the only one, or you might be the only one. Talk about recognizing that.
All right, so let's start right here, right? Some people are the type of people you need someone to help you jumpstart, right? You may not have the courage or the confidence, you know what I'm saying, to start the journey alone. You may not be meant for you to start that journey alone. So you may find someone that you're comfortable with, you're close with, or that is in that field that you're trying to get to maybe go along with you, to coach you along the way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you need that person to give you a jump, you know what I'm saying, to learn from, to jumpstart you, to you eventually develop, you learn stuff, and you say, all right, you know what? I think now it's time for me to continue on my own. Or that person that helped you may say, all right, man, I think you got it from here.
just like a father grooming his son. It comes a certain age where you send your son off like, okay, son, everything I taught you now is time to put it to use. You got to go now and go your own path. I think I look at it in that perspective. I got two boys. It's certain things I'm teaching them. So when they do get older and they do want to start their careers, their family or whatever, hey, I could be long gone, right? But you'll remember the lessons that I gave you and they'll hopefully help you in your next part of life. And then some goes to where you have to start alone, but you may get to a point to where, all right, I need help. I need assistance in this area. All right, let me go find someone I comfortable. Or let me go find somebody that's been in this position so I can pick their brains and they can coach me along the way. Every path is different, but I guarantee you, eventually, I feel like everyone goes through that path. I think people that are success stories, you always hear them talk about their mentors. You notice that very successful people, they always talk about somebody that mentored them, somebody that helped them along the way. I feel like that's something you can't avoid because there's gonna come a point to where it's something that you don't know that somebody knows you're gonna need them to help you. So I think both aspects. It may be you start with someone, or it may be you start alone and then you need to find someone to help you continue. But you can't avoid that.
Yo, let's jump right into that because that was going to be the next point, the importance of mentorship.
Yeah, man. You like I said, think of your favorite athlete, your favorite entertainer, anybody. They have a mentor. They have someone that coached them along the way. And the point of a mentor is to really not just to give you everything, but to help you. Hey, look out for this. This is going to happen. If you want to get to this point, this is going to happen. Like mentors are very important. I don't know a successful person that didn't have a mentor. I think that's impossible because your mentor had a mentor. How do you think they learned what they had, right? My uncle, who was my father figure, that was my mentor. He helped me with certain things in life. Your father, your mother was a mentor. They helped you maybe in different areas, but they help you. So mentorship is, man, if you think you're gonna reach your ultimate goals at some without a mentor at some point, I think it's time to switch your plan up because you're gonna need someone. You're never too smart. No, no one that thinks they knows everything, those people to me fall on their face because you don't know everything. You're gonna need help, and put the pride and the ego to the side and realize it's gonna come a point, if not now or later, where you're gonna need help.
Mm, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Let's um let's end with this final point. While we're busy on our individual journeys, trying to reach our goals, one of the things that we always forget because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be able to accomplish this and have this, and especially Americans, because we are like the epitome of narcissism and we feel like that we have to have it all. But one thing that I notice a lot of people forget is gratefulness, right? I love to start my days with being grateful just for the fact that I'm here. And like, to me, the biggest blessing isn't to have things, it's to have the ability to do for others, the ability to be able to do things that I desire, because some people don't have that blessing in their lives. I remember when I was a kid and my mother used to work at the hospital, and she would literally take me around to go see the other kids that were stuck in the hospital because of their conditions. Like they couldn't do simple things like just being able to go out to eat or go out to the movies and whatnot. And as a kid, I I know I took that for granted. Even as an adult, I take the little things for granted. So talk about the the journey to, as you're going through your journey, there's also a journey of being grateful and not forgetting to be thankful for all of the blessings that you have.
Man, I think you said this yesterday, man. We look around and we feel like we got it bad, but there's someone, believe it or not, as bad as your situation is, there's someone that has it worse than you. As bad as their situation is, there's someone that has it worse than them. And it goes on and on and on. That's why, and I keep going back to this, enjoying the journey, enjoying the highs, the lows. There's transparency and there's life lessons along the way. And that's why I think creating reachable goals, sit back and be like, okay, man, it may seem small to some other people, but what's big to me may not be big to you. It could be the littlest thing, right? Like, think about how happy, and it's like a milestone, right? Think about how happy parents get when their child take their first steps. Now, most children always take their first step, right? But it's a moment, it's like, wow, like my baby took their first step. I feel like we got to look at it like that. In your career, enjoy and realize when you took your first step. Enjoy and
Wow,
realize when you finally
that's excellent.
begin to walk. Because it's so easy to ignore that, right? And I feel like that builds stress, that builds anxiety because you're so focused on that goal, you're not enjoying your first step. We started a podcast. That was our first step. That was a goal right there, right? Because a lot of people say they're gonna start something and never do. We started a podcast. That was our first step. We've been doing it for a year. We done took a couple steps now. So to me, to 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 enjoy, to voice anxiety, stress, you have to you got to take a moment, because sometimes we're so busy in life where we're just going. We're trying to accomplish things. We don't sit back and we don't really evaluate, like, man, like, it's okay to sit back and look at what you've done, look at your work, right? When the artists get done drawing their picture, they don't immediately go on to the next one. They sit back and they look at their work. They may look at it for mistakes or whatever, but they sit back and they look at it like, okay, all right, now let's go to the next one. You don't think the person that created the Mona Lisa didn't sit back and look at it? No, you sit back, you look over your work, you look at what you can improve on, but you also it's okay to admire it. Now, I'm saying being arrogant and be stuck up, but I feel like as human beings, we have to, when we accomplish something, we have to at least sit back, even if it's 5 minutes or even if it's by yourself, celebrate it, right? Celebrate goals, celebrate achievements, man. Because if you don't, we brought it up earlier, it's a stressful road getting to that ultimate goal. So to me, the importance, if I could get anything out of this topic, is enjoy the journey, man. Like, you have to.
All great stuff, brother. That's wisdom that you just put out there. And one of the things you said, which I think was so powerful, is when you pray to God and ask for things, pay attention to the signs.
Yeah.
Like, I love how you put that. Pay attention to the things that he's showing you, because as we ask for these things, like, for example, say you want $10,000 or whatever, you immediately go to, where can I get that $10,000?
Yep.
Versus recognizing an opportunity to make that $10,000. And you got something so much more, because now you got the knowledge and the experience of making that $10,000, possibly the opportunity to build a relationship to continue making that $10,000. I thought that was great, man. In fact, I'm gonna make that our self-care Sunday tomorrow. And it's gonna say, when you ask God for blessings, or when you pray to God for things, pay attention to the signs. I thought that was awesome, bro.
You know how many people like pray for jobs, right? But if you was to walk outside, you may be able to see that God didn't send somebody down your street 10 times with a "we're hiring" sign, right? You just got to get out there. You got it. Like, again, man, our motto on here is got to put the work in. It's going to be there. There's going to be a door. You just got to go locate that door. He's not going to do everything for you. And that's life in general, whether you like us and you believe in God, or you believe in a higher power, whatever it is your religion may be. Nothing's going to be given to you. You're going to have to go get it. I don't think life is meant to just hand you things. You got to work to get it, man. But you got anything else to say, man?
Man, I think you said it all. Everyone, check this out. When we talk about goals, not just for this year, but even for the rest of your life, you need to identify the short and long-term goals. Create realistic goals. Yes, God can do the impossible. Yes, he can work miracles, but he's not going to give you more than you can handle. Always have a backup plan. Understand that some goals are meant to be reached individually, or you might need partnerships. You might need a mentor. In fact, I think we all need mentors, and don't forget to be grateful and thankful along the way.
That was beautiful, man. First off, great topic, man. Great topic.
This is all courtesy of
Price. Had no
TV.
idea we're talking about this, but great topic, man. If you guys enjoyed it, throw it in the comment section. Also, if there's anything else you want us to touch on, throw that down there too. Like the video, share the video, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn at the Black Culture Podcast. This is episode 2 of the new year. I think we starting off pretty hot, man. Coming in hot. I like it.
I love it, bro.
Man.
I love it.
Thank you, man. Again, thank you for our listeners, our followers. I am the Willie Ashford.
I am Price, and it's the Black Culture Podcast. Peace.